Welcome back to the Big Rand Show. Thank you for joining me. Now, yesterday I made a video about how Bill Clinton is problematic speaking at the DNC tonight. I thought he was going to speak yesterday, but apparently it turns out that he is supposed to speak tonight. We'll see if that holds. But somebody in the comments mentioned that they were wondering what other things Bill Clinton had done besides the Monica Lewinsky scandal. Now, we know what happened with Monica Lewinsky. It was all kind of gross, and there was a power dynamic there that shouldn't have been exploited. Now, at the time, she said it was completely consensual. She's since then said that she was a victim of coercion just because of the power dynamic, pretty much. You know, because he was in control of really her life at that point as an intern in the White House. But that was just sick enough, right? It was just gross. And the stuff that that it put his wife and his daughter through, it's just sad. And of course, though, there's another strike, right? Before the four women that you're going to hear about in this video, there's the fact that he flew on the Lolita Express with Jeffrey Epstein. Was close with Jeffrey Epstein. Spent lots of time, at least several visits to Jeffrey Epstein's, island, where all the sex trafficking parties took place with minors and even women of legal age, but he was still sex trafficking them. And now nobody has been able to confirm whether or not Bill Clinton did anything, especially with underage people. All the stuff I've seen says that he didn't. But he put himself in that situation. And even if they were of legal age, he was still possibly fooling around with women who were being trafficked against their will and coerced into doing so. So those are already two strikes right there before we get into the stories here. Now, what we're going to discuss here is this is a Business Insider article from 2018 talking about the sexual assault allegations against Bill Clinton. As well, before we get started, trigger warning for sexual assault and sexual violence. But let's get started. Four women over the past few decades have publicly accused Bill Clinton of sexual assault or harassment. One woman accusing him of rape. Let me get down to the victims here, because the whole parts of the article aren't really all that important. Here you see a picture of Bill Clinton, and I'm going to guess the lady on, I'm not sure which one of these, I'm going to guess the lady on the far right here is Janita Broderick, which was taken in 1978. Broderick has made the most serious allegation against Clinton. Now, before we also, let me make clear that these are accusations. These are things that he allegedly did, and he has denied doing any of them. But she accused him of raping her in 1978 while Clinton was then Arkansas Attorney General. She was a 35-year-old nursing home administrator. She met Clinton at a nursing home on a campaign stop, and then he asked to meet up with her again, on his next trip to Little Rock at a hotel coffee shop. Broderick, who first made the accusation public in 1999, told BuzzFeed last year, which would have been 2017, that when Clinton arrived to the hotel, he asked to meet in her hotel room or in her room instead, and after that, violently essayed her, even bloodying her lip by biting it. She goes on to say there was no remorse. She told BuzzFeed he acted like it was an everyday occurrence. He wasn't the least bit apologetic, and it was just unreal. Also, the Washington Post had reported that two people close to Broderick had said that she described the rape to them at the time that it happened. But of course, she was probably scared to say anything because he was in a position of power. And a lot of men that were in positions of power got away with a lot of stuff until, the Me Too movement started. Then you have Kathleen Wiley, picture of her from 2016. Wiley said Clinton kissed her, fondled her breast, and forced her to touch his crotch during a meeting in the Oval Office in '93, while Wiley was a volunteer in the White House Correspondence Office. She made her allegations public in '98. Clinton emphatically denied the interaction was sexual, arguing that he hugged Wiley and may have kissed her on the forehead. Wiley said in her interview that she was friends with Clinton and confided to him that she and her husband were having financial troubles. She asked him for a promotion from her volunteer position to a paid position, and says that Clinton was sympathetic and asked to talk with her in a small room just off of the Oval Office. She said that's when Clinton cornered her and assaulted her in that room. She told Sean Hannity, a Fox News host, that her mind was racing, and she was thinking, she didn't know, should she slap him, should she kick him, knee him? She said she recalled thinking during that interview that, she's like, what do I do? Do I scream? And she was concerned about the Secret Service. Are they going to come in and, descend upon her with guns? Once again, these are allegations against Bill Clinton. You got Paula Jones. I don't know what people remember of the Paula Jones thing. It happened. It was in the news a long time ago. It did kind of make a resurgence during the Me Too movement, but it was gross as well. She was a former Arkansas state employee. She said in 1991 at a government quality management conference that Clinton attended, she was approached by the state police that he wanted to meet with her. Then the governor, he was then the governor of Arkansas, said that the police officer escorted her to Clinton's hotel room in Little Rock, and that's when Clinton propositioned her for sex and exposed himself to her. Her quote here is, he sat down, pulled down his pants, his whole everything, and he was exposed. And she said that, I said that I'm not that kind of girl. I need to get back to my desk. That she referred, there again, it was another interview with Sean Hannity. Jones said that the public officer was, the state police officer was standing outside the door. She said that she tried to leave after Clinton exposed himself, but Clinton rushed to the door and closed it, or grabbed the door. And he said, "You're a smart girl. Let's keep this between ourselves." She said, of course, that when she left, she said the state trooper was kind of smirking at her. Now, she made these allegations public in 1994 and brought a sexual harassment suit against Bill Clinton. A federal judge initially dismissed the case in '98 on grounds that she had not proven her case, basically, that she didn't prove that she was harmed either personally or in her career by the incident. But she appealed the ruling, and ultimately Bill Clinton paid a settlement of $850,000 as part of an out-of-court settlement, but did not admit guilt or apologize. Then you have Leslie Milwee. Milwee was a former television reporter. In October of 2016, she accused Clinton of assaulting her in 1980. Clinton says that then the governor of Arkansas groped her on several occasions at the now defunct TV station that she worked at in Arkansas. She says he followed her into an editing room. She was talking to Breitbart, which now Breitbart's not necessarily a beacon of truth, but I believe I choose to believe victims until I find out otherwise. But in a 2016 interview, she said, it was very small. There was a chair. I was sitting in a chair. He came up behind me and started rubbing my shoulders and his hands running down towards her breast. She said she was stunned. I froze and asked him to stop. He just laughed. She says from there the incidents would escalate. She said the second incident he came from behind her, started hunching her. Not really a term that I have ever used. To the point that he apparently had an orgasm, and he started trying to touch her breast. And she says she sat there stiffly waiting for him to leave her alone, asking him the whole time, please don't do this, don't touch me, I don't want this. She recalled a third time in which she said she wasn't even aware that Clinton was in the building when he found her in the editing room. She didn't go into detail. At least the article doesn't go into detail about it. Milby says she didn't report it to authorities because he was the governor of Arkansas at the time, and she was worried about what would happen if she came forward. So, and that tends to be an overarching problem when it comes to um, being a victim of, especially things like sexual assault. When somebody's in power like that. When there's a power dynamic like that, what are you supposed to do? It's kind of difficult to come forward when you're worried that your life could be upended by, speaking out against somebody in power. Somebody that could literally get you fired from your job and get you blacklisted from ever working again in your field. Or especially if that's how you feel, right? And back in the late 70s, early 80s, a governor, especially in the South, had a lot of control over things, and they could literally ruin your life. So it wasn't like it is now. Back then, women were ignored when they accused somebody of sexual assault and stuff and sexual harassment. It was ignored largely by a large portion of not just America but the world in general. That's the reason the Me Too movement was so important. Now, I do want to read this last little blurb here for anybody. If you're a survivor of sexual assault, you can call the National Sexual Assault Hotline at 1-800-656-4673 or visit the website to receive confidential support. So if you need intervention, you're having you've been assaulted or whatever, please contact either your local authorities or get in contact with the Sexual Assault Hotline. But these are the reasons that I think Bill Clinton is problematic and should not be speaking at the DNC this year. I'm actually just stunned that they would have him speaking at all. It's very disappointing that they would bring him out and have him speaking. Hopefully people will speak up enough and he doesn't get to speak. But unfortunately, they're probably going to have him on tonight. And I understand the argument that, he's a former president, he's a big part of the party. But you know what? You know what you could do instead of having Bill Clinton speak? You could do a montage, a dedication, as it were, to the life of Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter was a good, moral man, of good moral character. And Bill Clinton was not. Bill Clinton is a disgusting man who did disgusting things to people. And I understand that he's never admitted guilt to any of these charges. But the fact is, these are just 4 of the ones that I've heard about over the years. And there's others that I've heard on the news that I've read about, articles about, and that weren't necessarily sexual assault, but more along the lines of harassment. And like I said earlier in the video, Bill Clinton was one of my favorite presidents of my lifetime. He was my number one favorite until Barack Obama was elected. In fact, Bill Clinton was the one that inspired me to get into politics and care about politics. Hell, when I was in seventh grade, I I tried to get some color. We've got some gray hair color for Halloween. Like that spray paint for your hair, and I dressed up like Bill Clinton because I didn't know any better. He was president of the United States. He seemed like a good guy. I was wrong, and I believe we need to hold him accountable. And if you can't legally hold him accountable because there's not enough proof, it's been too long, whatever, the least the DNC could do is not allow him to speak. That said, DNC night 3 is tonight. Tim Walz will speak tonight um, to the convention. And Thursday night, of course, Kamala Harris will take the stage. Um, as we found out yesterday, they did the roll call vote yesterday. And of course, she has all the delegates needed, as discussed in yesterday's video, that she already had this kind of secured. But it's official as of today, or as of last night anyway, that she is the official nominee for president from the Democratic Party. So regardless of what you think about Bill Clinton, and whether or not you think he should be speaking tonight or not, Kamala Harris needs your support. We've got to get her elected. We cannot let Donald Trump take over this country again. Because I guarantee you, a second term will be far worse than the first one. So let's get out there. Let's tell people, what we know about Kamala Harris, that she's an empathetic, caring woman who actually cares about others, who cares about doing the right thing, who cares about putting criminals where they belong. And let's get her elected. In the coming weeks, of course, I will discuss some of her policy positions, like her idea for trying to curb corporate price gouging, as well as the problems with rent and things like that. And those will be discussed as well. I'm hoping by Friday of this week, if I have the time, I will get my first video over Project 2025 done. I've had a number of issues this week, timing just not working out, so haven't been able to dedicate as much time to videos as I would like. Anyhow, y'all have a great day. I'll see you down the road. Harris 2024.